Canada, it's Earl. Right now, while Canadian families are struggling with $1.80 to $2 gas, $7 for a dozen eggs, and record food bank lines, our finance minister, Francois-Philippe Champagne, is in China on a high-level trade mission. He's not alone. With him is Bank of Canada Governor Tiff Macklem and a delegation that includes senior executives from Brookfield Asset Management, the same company Mark Carney used to chair and still holds millions in stock options with. They're meeting with top Chinese officials, including Vice Premier Haley Feng, to build closer strategic and economic partnerships and attract new Chinese investment in Canada. The stated goal is to increase Canadian exports to China by 50% by 2030. This is the same Mark Carney who, before becoming Prime Minister, repeatedly called Canada's biggest long-term strategic threat. He warned about Chinese election interference, intellectual property theft, influence operations inside our institutions, and strategic risks in the Arctic and our supply chains. He was right. China has operated unofficial police stations on Canadian soil in Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal to harass and intimidate Chinese-Canadian dissidents. Arbitrarily detained the two Michaels, Kovrig and Michael Spavor, for over 1,000 days in retaliation for Canada arresting Huawei's Meng Wanzhou. Invested heavily in Alberta's oil sands through state-linked companies like CNOOC and PetroChina, giving Beijing direct influence over strategic Canadian energy assets. Been documented by CSIS and parliamentary committees as interfering in Canadian elections. Supplied the majority of fentanyl precursors entering North America. These are documented threats. Yet here we are. Carney's government is actively pushing deeper economic ties with the very country he used to warn us about. And Brookfield is right in the middle of it. Brookfield has over $3 billion in investments in China, including major real estate and infrastructure projects. During Carney's time as chair, Brookfield secured hundreds of millions in loans from Chinese state banks, including the Bank of China. Now, with Carney as Prime Minister and Brookfield executives on the official delegation, the circle is complete. Meanwhile, President Trump has been crystal clear. If Canada deepens its trade relationship with China in a way that allows Beijing to use us as a backdoor into the U.S. market, he will slap 100% tariffs on Canadian goods. The U.S. is still by far our biggest trading partner, roughly 70-75% of our exports. China is only about 3.9%. Even if Carney hits his 50% increase target, China's share only rises to around 5.85%. China cannot replace the United States in volume, integration, or reliability. So why is Carney pushing so hard for deeper ties with China? One very obvious reason is Brookfield. Brookfield stands to benefit enormously from increased Chinese investment in Canadian infrastructure, energy, and real estate. Every time Ottawa announces another green transition or infrastructure spending package, Brookfield is positioned to win contracts. Deeper trade with China opens even more doors for them. We are already one of the highest tax countries among major economies. We're paying record prices for food, gas, and housing. Small businesses are closing. Rural communities are watching land get locked up under 30 by 30. And now the plan is to bet even more of our future on a country that has repeatedly acted against our interests. Are we being sold out to China? When the Prime Minister who warned us about the threat is now actively courting deeper economic dependence on that same threat, while Brookfield executives are literally in the room, and while Trump is threatening devastating tariffs, the question has to be asked. I'm Earl, just a regular Canadian who's paying attention. Thanks for listening. Stay awake.